Your air conditioner uses more electricity in one summer than an entire Maya city used in a year. The ancient Mesoamericans had systems that kept buildings 20 degrees cooler than outside air, used zero electricity, and lasted for centuries. Modern HVAC can barely keep up in a humid climate without breaking your electric bill. Here are 13 temperature control technologies from ancient Mexico and Central America that put our current systems to shame. Number 13, Chinampa Water Gardens, the Aztec urban cooling network. Number 13 is the Chinampa Water Garden system. The Aztecs built their capital, Tenochtitlan, on a lake, and they engineered something brilliant. They created raised garden beds separated by water channels throughout the entire city. These weren't just for growing food. The water constantly evaporated during the hot day, pulling heat from the air around it. Trees planted along the channels added another layer through transpiration, where plants release water vapor through their leaves. This process naturally cools the surrounding air. Spanish conquistadors who arrived in 1519 wrote detailed accounts about how the city felt noticeably cooler than the surrounding lakeshore areas, even though Tenochtitlan was packed with over 200,000 people. Modern research estimates this system lowered city temperatures by 5 to 12 degrees Fahrenheit across the entire urban area. The network covered about 9,000 acres of lake surface. Today, Mexico City sits on the same spot after the Spanish drained all the lakes. It's now one of the hottest urban heat islands in North America. A modern city trying to cool that much area would need thousands of industrial air conditioning units running 24 hours a day. Chinampas did it naturally using only sunlight and lake water. Number 12, Chulten Underground Chambers, nature's refrigerator. Number 12 brings us underground with the Chulten storage system. The Maya carved bottle-shaped chambers deep into the limestone bedrock under their cities. These chambers had narrow openings at ground level that expanded into larger rooms below. The primary use was storing rainwater since the Yucatan Peninsula had almost no surface rivers. The limestone filtered and purified the water naturally. However, the Maya quickly figured out these chambers had another incredible property. The temperature inside stayed constant between 65 and 72 degrees Fahrenheit year-round. Regardless of outside conditions, the earth itself provided perfect insulation. Archaeologists excavating Maya sites regularly find remains of corn, beans, and other perishable foods stored in chultens. These goods stayed preserved for months longer than anything kept above ground. The chambers effectively worked as passive refrigerators without any power source. During extreme heat waves, Maya families would actually climb down into their chultens to escape the surface temperatures. Some chultens were large enough to hold several people comfortably. A typical chulten stayed 30 to 40 degrees cooler than midday surface temperatures in summer. Number 11, raised platform foundations elevating comfort. Number 11 is the raised platform foundation system used across all Mesoamerican cultures. Every Maya building, from the smallest house to the largest temple, sat on top of a raised limestone platform. These platforms range from 3 feet high for common homes up to 10 feet or more for elite structures. Modern visitors walking through Maya ruins often assume these platforms were purely ceremonial or for flood protection. The platforms definitely helped with flooding in the rainy season, but the cooling effect was equally important. By raising the building off the ground, air could circulate freely underneath the structure. This created a ventilation gap that prevented ground heat from transferring into the building floor. The difference is dramatic. Modern Maya families who still build traditional houses on raised platforms report their homes feel 8 to 12 degrees cooler inside compared to houses built directly on the ground. The airflow under the platform creates a constant gentle breeze that wicks away heat and moisture. During the hottest part of the day, you can actually feel cool air rising up through gaps in the floorboards. The stone platforms themselves also absorbed rainwater during storms, creating an evaporative cooling effect afterward. As the stored water slowly evaporated from the porous limestone, it pulled additional heat away from the structure above. Number 10, Bajarreca walls, breathable construction. Number 10 introduces breathable wall construction using wattle and daub. The Maya called this building technique Bajarreca. Workers would set vertical wooden poles into the ground to form the wall frame, then weave horizontal branches or reeds between the poles. This created a basket-like lattice. They covered both sides with a mixture of wet clay, sand, and plant fibers, then let it dry into a solid wall. The result looks solid but remains slightly porous at the microscopic level. Water vapor can pass through the wall in both directions, but liquid water and rain get blocked. This seemingly simple property makes an enormous difference in humid climates. The human body cools itself through sweat evaporation. When indoor humidity gets too high, sweat stops evaporating effectively and you feel miserable even at moderate temperatures. Mesoamerica walls constantly allow excess humidity to escape outside while blocking the radiant heat from the sun. Comparative studies in Guatemala tested traditional Mesoamerica houses against modern concrete block houses in the same village. Number 9. Roof combs, monumental shade structures. Number 9 takes us to the massive roof combs on Maya temples and palaces. These elaborate stone crests rise 15 to 30 feet above the actual roof surface on buildings at Tikal, Palenque, and Copan. Archaeologists originally thought they served purely religious and political purposes, displaying carved images of rulers and gods. The decorative function was definitely important, but the roof combs also provided crucial temperature control. The massive stone structure cast deep shadows over the roof surface below, preventing direct sunlight from hitting the limestone vault. Thermal imaging studies of reconstructed Maya buildings in Belize measured the difference. A roof section shaded by a roof comb stayed up to 70 degrees Fahrenheit cooler than an identical unshaded section just a few feet away. That temperature difference prevented massive heat transfer into the interior spaces below. The roof combs also channeled wind across the roof surface, increasing convective cooling. The vertical faces caught prevailing breezes and directed them over the building. At Tikal, the Temple of the Great Jaguar has a roof comb that extends 50 feet above the temple roof. Number 8. Sunken courtyards, underground outdoor living. Number 8 is the sunken courtyard design perfected at Teotihuacan and later copied by the Aztecs. Instead of building courtyards at ground level, the builders excavated 3 to 6 feet down into the earth. The sunken floor created a protected microclimate zone. The surrounding walls blocked wind and trapped cooler air that settled into the depression. The earth itself provided thermal mass and insulation on all sides. Most sunken courtyards included small water features, decorative pools, or fountains. The water added evaporative cooling to the already cool space. Many courtyards also contained gardens with trees and flowering plants. Plant transpiration added another cooling layer. The result was a naturally air-conditioned outdoor living space that stayed 15 to 25 degrees cooler than the surrounding streets and plazas. Teotihuacan's apartment compounds housed hundreds of people in multi-family residential units. Each compound centered on one or more sunken courtyards where families gathered for meals, work, and socializing. Number 7. Sacred cenotes, natural air conditioning vents. Number 7 connects to the sacred cenotes. These limestone sinkholes provided practical climate control along with spiritual significance. The Yucatan Peninsula sits on a massive limestone platform riddled with underground rivers and caves. Cenotes form where the limestone roof collapses, exposing the water table below. The Maya considered them sacred portals to the underworld, but they also recognized the cooling potential. The underground water in caves maintain a constant temperature between 72 and 77 degrees year-round because they're insulated by hundreds of feet of limestone. Cool air naturally rises from cenote openings. Elite Maya families built their residences directly adjacent to cenotes whenever possible. Some palaces had rooms positioned right at the cenote edge where cool air would flow directly into living spaces. Archaeological evidence at some sites show the Maya actually engineered clay pipe systems to direct cenote air into specific rooms. The pipes were carefully angled to maintain airflow without mechanical fans. Modern restaurants and hotels built into cenotes today demonstrate the same principle. These establishments stay perfectly comfortable year-round without any mechanical cooling systems. Constant 75-degree air rising from the cenote naturally air conditions the entire space. Number 6. Sascab floors, self-cooling surfaces. Number 6 introduces sascab, a unique material found in the northern Yucatan. Sascab is a white powdery substance that forms naturally in the limestone. It's technically a calcareous marl composed of tiny limestone particles mixed with clay. The Maya excavated sascab from shallow pits and used it extensively for floor surfaces. After excavation, they mixed it with water to form a paste, spread it in layers, and compacted it until hard. The finished floor looked white and felt slightly soft underfoot compared to solid limestone. The material has remarkable properties. It's slightly hygroscopic, meaning it attracts and holds water molecules from the air. During cool nights, sascab absorbs moisture from the humid air. During hot days, the moisture slowly evaporates, creating a cooling effect. More importantly, the material stays cool to the touch even when temperatures soar. Modern eco-resorts in the Yucatan have measured SASCAB floor temperatures. The surface consistently maintains 70 to 74 degrees even when air temperature exceeds 100 degrees. Walking barefoot on a SASCAB floor in summer feels dramatically cooler than walking on tile, concrete, or wood. The temperature difference can be 15 to 20 degrees compared to sun-heated tile. The cooling effect comes from the material's low thermal conductivity and its evaporative properties working together. A typical SASCAB floor was laid 4 to 6 inches thick over compacted rubble fill. The thickness provided thermal mass while the surface material provided the cooling sensation. Number 5. Palapa roofs, the ultimate thatch technology. Number 5 takes us to the palapa, the traditional thatched roof system used throughout Mesoamerica. The classic Maya house design used a steep pitched wooden frame covered with thick layers of guano palm leaves. The roof peak was typically 15 to 20 feet high, even for modest homes. The thatch layer reached 12 to 18 inches thick at minimum. This created exceptional insulation with an R value comparable to modern fiberglass insulation. The steep pitch served multiple functions. Rain shed instantly without pooling, preventing rot and leaks. Hot air naturally rose to the peak where the gable ends were left completely open. This created powerful natural convection, pulling hot air out while drawing cooler air at the ground level. Field measurements in modern Maya villages provide hard data on palapa performance. Traditional thatch roof houses average 14 to 20 degrees cooler inside than nearby houses roofed with corrugated metal. The humidity control is even more impressive. The thatch breathes naturally, allowing water vapor to escape while blocking rain. Metal roofs trap humidity inside, making the space feel muggy and uncomfortable. The thatch also provides excellent sound dampening, creating a quiet, peaceful interior. A properly constructed palapa roof lasts 20 to 30 years before needing replacement. Used thatch can be composted directly back into farm fields, making the system completely sustainable. Modern roofing materials require fossil fuels to manufacture, generate waste during installation, and create disposal problems at the end of life. The palapa produces zero waste and can be built using only materials harvested within walking distance. The steep pitch also made the interior feel more spacious because the high ceiling created volume. This psychological effect added to the physical cooling, making occupants more comfortable. Some elaborate palapas included a second interior ceiling of woven mats suspended below the thatch layer. This created an insulating air gap that further reduced heat transfer. The roof frame used wooden poles lashed together with plant fiber cordage, requiring no metal fasteners or manufactured materials. Number 4. Strategic building orientation, engineering with the sun and wind. Number 4 covers strategic building orientation, a principle that Maya and other Mesoamericans mastered. Most people assume ancient cities followed simple grid patterns aligned to cardinal directions. Teotihuacan did use a grid, but it was rotated 15 degrees from true north for astronomical and climatic reasons. Maya cities rarely used grids at all. Instead, individual buildings were carefully oriented based on local wind patterns and sun angles. Prevailing winds across the Yucatan came from the northeast, bringing cooler air from the Gulf of Mexico. Maya architects positioned major openings in courtyards to capture these breezes. They minimized west-facing walls because afternoon sun from that direction creates brutal heat gain. At Copan in Honduras, detailed surveys show elite residential compounds were rotated 10 to 15 degrees off the cardinal directions. This orientation maximized wind exposure while minimizing solar gain. Modern thermal studies using computer fluid dynamics modeling show correctly oriented Maya structures experience 25 to 35% less heat gain than a comparable building with random orientation. The Maya also used strategic building placement to create beneficial microclimates. They clustered buildings tightly to form narrow passageways between structures. These shaded street canyons stayed 15 to 20 degrees cooler than open plazas. The narrow spaces also accelerated wind flow, creating natural breezes even on calm days. At Palenque, the palace complex uses a combination of building orientation and spacing that channels wind through the entire structure. You can stand in certain doorways and feel strong, steady breezes even though the outside air is calm. The architects understood local wind patterns intimately and designed their buildings to harness those patterns. This level of site-specific climate design is rare in modern construction, where buildings are oriented primarily based on street grids and property lines rather than sun and wind. The Maya approach saved energy by working with natural forces rather than fighting them. Number 3, corbelled vaults, towers of natural convection. Number 3 introduces the corbelled vault, a revolutionary Maya architectural innovation. The classic pointed arch used in European cathedrals wasn't invented in Mesoamerica. Instead, the Maya developed the corbelled or false arch. The builders stacked stones in progressively overlapping courses until they met at the top. This created a tall, narrow vault that could span up to 12 feet. The technique allowed interior ceilings to reach 20 to 30 feet high in palaces and temples. These dramatic heights created powerful stack effect ventilation. Hot air naturally rises and accumulated at the ceiling peak. The Maya engineered openings at the top through porous roof combs and deliberate gaps. Cool air entered through doorways and openings at floor level. This created continuous natural airflow without any mechanical assistance. Computer modeling of the governor's palace at Uxmal shows that vault geometry produces convection currents that remove heat and humidity at rates comparable to modern ceiling fans running on low speed. The difference is the Maya system uses zero electricity. The vault rooms at sites like Ekbalam and Chincana remain noticeably cooler than outside air even today, centuries after construction. Visitors entering these spaces immediately feel the temperature drop. The thick limestone vault itself also provides thermal mass, absorbing heat slowly during the day and preventing interior temperature spikes. The interior plaster coating was made from lime, which is naturally reflective and helps bounce light deep into the rooms while reflecting heat. The corbelled vault was structurally limited compared to the true arch. The Maya couldn't create wide open spaces like Gothic cathedrals. However, for tropical climate control, the tall, narrow vault proved superior because it maximized the stack effect while maintaining thick insulating walls. Modern buildings in the same climate use wide, flat ceilings with air conditioning, consuming massive energy to achieve inferior comfort levels. Number 2, limestone thermal mass walls, ancient climate batteries. Number 2 is the limestone thermal mass wall system that defined Maya monumental architecture. Classic period palaces and temples used massive limestone blocks up to 3 or 4 feet thick. The blocks were precisely cut and fitted together with lime mortar, then covered with lime stucco plaster. This created walls with enormous thermal mass. The limestone absorbed heat very slowly during the day, preventing interior temperatures from spiking. At night, when outside temperatures dropped, the walls gradually released stored heat. This daily cycle kept interior temperatures remarkably stable. Modern thermal studies of reconstructed Maya houses in Yucatan provide concrete data. Buildings with authentic 2-foot-thick limestone walls stay 12 to 18 degrees cooler inside than outside air during peak afternoon heat. Even more impressive, the interior temperature barely fluctuates. Outside temperatures might swing 30 degrees between day and night, but interior spaces only vary by 4 to 6 degrees. The lime mortar used in Maya construction was breathable and slightly hygroscopic. This allowed some moisture to migrate through the wall without creating condensation problems. Modern concrete walls trap moisture, leading to mold and humidity issues. The Maya system naturally regulated humidity while controlling temperature. The thick walls also provided excellent sound insulation, creating quiet interior spaces even in crowded urban areas. Modern architects in Merida, Mexico have deliberately recreated authentic Maya wall systems in high-end homes. These buildings routinely maintain comfortable conditions without air conditioning, even during the hottest months. The walls work year-round. During the brief cool season from December to February, the thermal mass prevents interior spaces from getting too cold at night. The same walls that kept buildings cool in summer kept them warm in winter. A typical Maya palace wall contained about 500 to 800 pounds of limestone per square foot of wall surface. This massive weight required sophisticated foundation engineering, but the thermal benefits were worth the effort. The quarried limestone was locally sourced, requiring no long-distance transport and creating zero emissions during production. Number 1, Temazcal, the original controlled environment chamber. Number 1 is the Temazcal, the original controlled environment steam bath. The Aztec word Temazcali means house of heat, and these structures appeared across Mesoamerica from the Maya lowlands to the Mexican highlands. The classic design used a low dome shape built from stone or adobe. The entrance was deliberately small, forcing users to crawl inside in a gesture of humility. A fire pit outside the structure heated volcanic stones until they glowed red. At the right moment, the stones were moved into the Temazcal interior. Water mixed with medicinal herbs was poured over the hot stones, creating dense steam. A shaman or healer controlled the amount of water and the duration of the session. Interior temperatures reached 110 to 130 degrees Fahrenheit with near 100% humidity. Modern saunas approximate this experience but use electric heaters that consume significant power. The Temazcal required only a small amount of firewood. The therapeutic effects went far beyond simple sweating. The intense heat followed by cold water immersion reset the body's thermoregulatory system. Spanish chronicles describe indigenous people using temazcales for treating respiratory illness, circulatory problems, and assisting childbirth. Modern medical studies confirm these traditional uses have scientific basis. The controlled hyperthermia improves blood circulation, opens airways, and triggers beneficial stress responses. Contemporary indigenous communities throughout Mexico and Central America still use temazcales regularly. Many families maintain small temazcales in their yards, using them weekly for health and spiritual purification. The design has remained essentially unchanged for over 2,000 years because it works so effectively. Unlike modern infrared saunas that cost thousands of dollars and require electrical infrastructure, a traditional temazcal can be built for minimal cost using local materials. The cultural knowledge of proper temazcal use includes understanding exact temperature control, timing, herb selection, and post-bath cooling procedures. This represents sophisticated environmental engineering passed down through generations. These 13 technologies prove ancient Mesoamericans achieved thermal comfort through deep ecological knowledge rather than brute force energy consumption. Modern HVAC systems offer precise temperature control and work in any climate, but they require massive amounts of electricity, use chemical refrigerants that damage the atmosphere, and need constant maintenance. The ancient techniques use zero electricity, produced zero emissions, and lasted for centuries with minimal upkeep,